Hey, what's happening, everybody? Back with another little recap video. I want to do a 3-year timeline as far as my 3 years in trucking, because in a few days it'll be 3 years that I've been in trucking, and I just want to kind of just talk about my experience and what I did and how I did it and how I enjoy it, and what you can get out of trucking, and the different avenues, and just the all around greatness about it. I would say I really do enjoy it, and I just wanted to kind of share with you guys why I love it. So of course COVID brought me into it. I got furloughed from my coffee distribution sales job, and of course because I was selling coffee to businesses and stocking supply rooms and break rooms and stuff like that, contamination. So therefore I got furloughed. When I did get furloughed, I did go back as one of the first drivers back, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. There wasn't enough hours. I was just like, they're acting different. It just wasn't. I wasn't happy. So I thought, what? I'm furloughed. Let me. This is the perfect time to go to trucking school. Nobody was hiring, so I actually delivered Domino's pizza at night and went through trucking school during the day. I did that for a month at C1 Trucking in Benbrook, Texas. It's like southwest Fort Worth. Worked for PAM Transport, or pretty awesome mileage is what PAM stands for. So yeah, I did 1 year with PAM. I did 3 months of over the road, 90 days before I was eligible to do the Walmart Bentonville, Arkansas, DC Walmart contract freight account, which paid $200 a day no matter what you did. So I would run 5 days. It was pretty much dedicated. At the time, my girlfriend, I would fly home every weekend from Bentonville. She works in the airlines at that time. So I would get home very frequently every weekend, or on Mondays and Tuesdays. So I'd come home Sunday night. Did that for 9 months. I enjoyed it. I got a little bit of winter driving experience, not much. Because it's Missouri, Kansas, Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas. It's not too bad. A few storms, but never had to chain up or anything. Did that for exactly 9 months, and then June of 2021 I applied at a lot of LTL companies. Estes, Old Dominion didn't have a spot open for me, so I went with Estes. Learned LTL, moving freight local, city driving, back into a dock 25 times a day, moving freight on and off, dealing with customers, dealing with bills, dealing with luckily getting paid by the hour. So if you're there waiting, you're getting paid, which is good. So there's not a lot of stress to it. Wasn't terrible. I learned a lot. The most important thing is I learned what I like. I like sleeping in my own bed. I like working in town and servicing customers, going from one place to the next and solving a problem. That's what I enjoy doing. Did that for 6 months. Old Dominion, they were recruiting me pretty hard. As far as, man, you got to come over here. We've got top tier freight. It's a brand new terminal in North Fort Worth there, and Justin. brand new terminal, you know, so I was like, grass is greener, which it was greener. It was better freight. A lot of Home Depot freight out of Estes, and a lot of broken pallets, and just a lot of claims. It's just a hassle. Not a lot of care on the dock with Estes. Probably not like that everywhere. I'm sure, you know, up north, I'm sure it's better, but down south, man, they just throw that freight on there. You know, it's busy. This is right after COVID too, so you know the freight market was booming. So, and I don't really think it mattered. Just get it there, you know, because they were paying. So of course, Old Dominion was better. Went with them. Loved the professionalism. You know, especially at a new terminal, everybody was hand selected by the OEM or by the terminal manager. So did that. Girlfriend and I decided to move to Miami. Kind of like just one day just decided let's move to Miami. So I transferred with my company. She transferred with her company. And we lived out there for 6 months working for Old Dominion, hauling freight out of Melody, Florida for $29. I took a 30-cent pay cut. I think I was 29. No, wait, I'm sorry. I was 31.10, and I moved out there for 29.65 or something like that. So I think I was like a 30-cent pay cut. Wasn't bad, but of course, cost of living in Miami is super high. You know, had a bay view. You know, lived on the beach. I got that life for 6 months. It was great. The one thing that I take away from that is I know how that lifestyle is, and I realized that wasn't for me, and I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy walking out of a condo door, shutting that door, getting on an elevator, and, you know, talking with, you know, people in the earth. Sorry, it was distraction. Just getting on the elevator and just like that whole building lifestyle, I didn't enjoy it. You know, I'm kind of a, you know, suburb, somewhat of a medium-sized population town guy. You know, I don't like too big of a city, but I don't like too small of a city. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle, you know, baby's porridge. So it was beautiful. It was amazing. Great experience. Loved it. You know, ran into some financial trouble. You know, a little bit of, you know, credit card debt, stuff like that. Living in Miami, not getting as much hours. The height of COVID, kind of, you know, that year after COVID started to hit. Numbers started to drop. And I saw the writing on the wall. I made an executive decision. Honestly, shout out to Red Viking Trucker. I'll be honest with you. I was listening to one of his podcasts. I think Brett Christensen was on there. And he was saying, you know, he's hauling crude oil, you know, for Bell Energy in North Dakota. And it kind of sparked the interest. Of course, I went from from Miami Beach on the beach to, you know, freezing, you know, sub-zero temperature. So it was pretty crazy, but, you know, that's what life's about. It's about experiences and challenging yourself. And so I took up, you know, that. You know, I could have stayed in Miami. I could have made it work. You know, I didn't. I chose to, you know, sever that relationship and cut ties to that and, you know, move on. You know, it was a multitude of not problems, but, you know, things grow and they change over time, you know, and it kind of all just kind of came to the head. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. And, you know, one thing led to another, because long distance relationships, you know, they never work because, you know, you need to be there physically, you know what I mean? So that, of course, brought me up to North Dakota. Worked in Williston. I didn't even post anything, because as soon as I got to Williston, I worked for a small company. Huge mistake, you know what? But you got to get started. You got to get your foot in the door. You got to get up there, because I was talking to companies in Miami and telling them, yeah, I have a little bit of winter driving experience. They're like, dude, you've only worked in the South. Like, you have no idea. Like, you have no winter driving experience whatsoever. You know, I was like, oh, okay. And then, so I was like, man, you know what? F it. I'm just going to go up there and I'm going to make it work. And that's exactly what I did. You know, kind of a crazy story. It took me 3 days to get up there. You know, pulled my motorcycle with a U-Haul trailer. There was a bunch of weddings because I guess it was in, October. So a lot of fall weddings, a lot of baseball games. And every time I stopped at a hotel, I couldn't get a hotel. So I had to sleep in the truck. It was crazy. 3 days up there sleeping in the truck. Because by the third day, I didn't care. I was like, I'm just sleeping in the truck. I'm not even going to look. Because I would drive around different hotels looking, you know, and I'm not going to go in the bad side of town and get a $59 hotel. I'm going to spend, you know, $80, $90, $110 on a hotel. So, you know, maybe that was my problem. But I just, you know, want to stay somewhere nice. Of course, if I'm going to park an asset out front, it's not going to be in the, you know what I mean? You get it. But, so did that. Great experience as far as traveling up there and making that commitment. Of course, getting to Williston. Worked for a DSG oil fields. Yeah, wouldn't recommend it. You know, if you know, you're a guy that just kind of wants to, I don't know, if you want to haul water, you want to do side dump, you know, and I don't know, I wouldn't recommend it. But I mean, it's not a horrible company. Of course, you're going to get paid, you're going to get hours, but you're going to run dirty. You're going to do things. You're going to be working on trucks. You're going to be, you know, it's a small company, so you're going to be asked to do things that, you know, you're going to get paid for them, but is that what you really want to do, you know? With smaller companies, you know, the requests are some, you know, for you to do things are kind of abnormal, I would say, in my opinion. But if you've only worked with small companies, then you get it. You got to change fuel filters. You know, you got to do things that you're like, man, it's -20 and I've got to be out here turning wrenches. Like, I signed up to drive, right? So when you work for a small company in the oil fields, just know that you're not just hauling water. You're going to be working on that truck a little bit to keep it going. Why? Because it's not a big fleet, so they can't just jump you in another truck. You've got to get that truck up and running because that's how you make your money. So with smaller fleets, you're going to have to do a little bit of work outside of that. I was kind of blown away, of course, because I was, you know, coming from LTL. I was like, oh man, of course I did it. I didn't say anything about it. I did it. But the professionalism with the company was a zero. So, of course, I got paid, you know, check cleared, not a problem there. But just wasn't for me. Kind of got into it. I remember telling him, because, you know, the way he talks to me, I was like, dude, the way you talk to me, I want to hit you in your face, you know? He's like, dude, I respect you. No one's ever told me that, man. I respect you. And he's like, man, I can change. You know, I'm trying to work on my anger. You know? I'm like, dude, I'm 33 years old. You're 50-something years old. I didn't come to North Dakota to be a guidance counselor, a life coach. You know, if you don't have your emotions in check and you can't run your business and communicate properly, you know, I'm not here to teach you that. Granted, I could have stayed, you know. He trusted me with the hydrovac, you know. I was the only guy that he had running that hydrovac, you know, so he saw something in me that he trusted me. But I wasn't willing to stay and be, you know, maybe an scapegoat. That ain't ever going to happen with me. Not at all. But, you know, just I knew if I was to stay in that situation, how my life would have been, you know, working for the small company. And, you know, yeah, I would have been buddy after a few years, but putting up with somebody that's, you know, has anger issues and, you know, almost getting into physical altercations, you know, on the neighbor's job site, you know, it rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, you know what, I'm too good for this, you know. I'm gonna take my experience and my knowledge and my safety record and just my care of my CDL somewhere else. After there was just some safety concerns, and I was like, no. I won't go into further detail, but huge safety concerns for my health and employees' health, whatever. So, did that for 1 month. After that, talked to Brett Christensen. Actually, I can't ever get his last name. Actually, I emailed him and said, hey, man, this company in Wilson's not working out. Do you have any recommendations? And, of course, his nephew was working for Mongoose Hot Shot out of Parshall, North Dakota. Great company. Office staff is great. Kendra's awesome. Jerry's awesome. A lot of the ladies in the office are amazing. Really good people to work for. Colton, the dispatcher, is pretty awesome. The mechanics. It's a perfectly, sized fleet, 35 trucks. They got a good operation. They're owned by, Slauson Explorations out of Denver, I believe. Great outfit to work for. If that's something, of course, pay rates are, high 20s, depending on, this is in May of 2023. So I'm sure it's going to only go up. Free housing, just pay a $350 deposit. Trailer houses or kind of like dorms, studios on site, and then they have a trailer park that's about 17 miles away from the yard. So not a bad place to work for. Did 6 months there, and me, like I said, I'm baby's porridge. Like I want to go to a vitamin shop and get vitamins. Like I don't want to drive to go get a salad, to go get real food, to get sushi, whatever. I don't even really eat sushi, but you know what I mean. Like I just want a different change of pace with a normal type city, right? So the safety manager and we actually went down to Deadwood, South Dakota on a little mini vacation for a weekend, and met a woman. You know what? Kind of fell in love. What can I say, right? Having done that, of course, distance doesn't work. Like I just said, distance never works. And it might work after you've been together 10, 20 years, 15 years, and that's just what's worked. Hey, distance, I'm gone, 4 weeks, I'll be back, whatever, great, it might work out. But starting out, you've got to make that initial, plunge, to be together and to make it work. Or, you distance date for a long time, and if it works out, great. But I didn't see it like that, and I made an executive decision again. Might not have been the greatest financially, just because, living in free housing in North Dakota versus not. So that would be the only downside. But, free housing, that's a huge bonus. That's great and all, but, after a while, you just get tired of living in North Dakota. Sorry, I'm kind of ranting or rambling on here. But basically, I just wanted to live in a normal city, normal town, and that's what I did. So, moved to Rapid City, South Dakota. Great place, population 78,000, or is it 80,000? Can't remember. It's one of those two. Perfect size. Got a mall. Got 2 Walmarts. It's got everything. All the bells and whistles. It's got trails. I'm somewhat of a hiker. I just like to be in nature. That's just me. Sturgis, of course I ride a bike. So, what else? A little bit closer to Colorado. That's North Dakota, central North Dakota, maybe Fargo, but it's flat and boring, man. I love these rolling hills, man. I love seeing landscape of hills, man. It's just beautiful. You know, it just kind of, I don't know, like endorphins kind of go off. You know, it kind of raises serotonin levels. You know, just seeing things, right? Instead of just flat, you know, just that. Anywho, well, that's kind of my 20-minute, 3-year, what I've done in 3 years. I started out, like I said, I made $56,000. I worked in LTL, I made $76,000. And then, of course, with your tanker, I have hazmat. I don't really use it right now. But of course, I have tanker. And working in the oil fields, overtime is key. Of course, you probably make about what an owner-operator would make in the oil fields as a driver with overtime, okay? So, take home is, and I'm not BSing, is 24 a week. That's with about 68 to 74 hours every week. So, of course, you're running day 6. Your overtime is key. If you make 30, overtime's $45 an hour, right? So that's key in the oil fields, because in LTL, overtime is at 50 if you get it. If you get it. And you won't get it in this economy. So that's why you need to get to the oil fields. That's why I'm here. That's why I think a lot of people are. Of course, plan is in the future possibly to get my own truck. There's just a lot of, risk that comes with that as far as breakdown. So you're going to have a nice, $20,000 nest egg, whatever, maybe not that much. If you get a good truck and you know a good mechanic and you don't run far from that good mechanic, because a tow bill could run you, a tow bill could put you out of business. If you're not saving your money and you don't have, funds set aside for that, if you don't have, a maintenance fund. But just, if you're running the oil fields, you ain't running far, baby. You ain't running far. You're always, within the range of your mechanic, and I feel like that's something I could do, is definitely run the oil fields with my own tractor. So that's definitely coming in the future. All right, I guess I kind of ranted enough. I don't know. I just wanted to kick out another video just because I'm kind of happy, to be honest with you. I think you could kind of gauge my happiness on how many videos I'll put out, just because I feel like I have value to bring. If I'm happy in something, I want you guys to know about it. And at least just kind of spark something off. If you're in LTL, or you're driving over the road and it's just not cutting it, get a hard hat, get some FR clothing, and get you to the oil fields. I'm not saying it's going to be around forever, but I'm telling you now, it could change your life. $30,000 a year more, in 5 years you make that. That you can really save and put yourself, I just feel like in town work, you just save for the 401k, you just get barely enough money to pay your bills, and you just barely just kind of eke on by. I feel like with the oil fields, if you ain't scared of WORK, like Red Viking Trucker says, if you're not scared to work, sorry, I was just watching one of his videos. If you're not scared to work out here, you can make money, and you have that opportunity to have overtime, and I think that's huge. You gotta work the least right and make the most. The oil fields, you don't work too hard. Why? You're not working on the rig, you're driving. You're not knocking in pipe, you're not tripping pipe, you're not up there. You're supporting the oil fields. So you're not killing yourself, of course. Get out, do some pull-ups, do some push-ups, stay in shape, get a jump rope, do whatever you can. Because sitting all day is not good. After this, boom, I'm hitting the gym. I get off at 7:30. I'm hitting the gym after this. I rarely even eat. I rarely eat 3 times a day. There's just no need. I'm doing 500-mile runs. Baby, I ain't burning nothing sitting here. You know, when I get up, roll straps, and get the bags off, I ain't burning nothing there. You know, so intake less because you're not burning calories, baby. Don't get fat, because fat and broke, there's just no need in a first world country. There's no reason you should be fat or broke in a first world country. So that's my you know, I don't know, I'm starting to kind of open up a little bit. You know, I feel happy and content in my situation currently. You know, got a good woman by my side. You know, she's in the medical field. You know, definitely, you know, am a happy young man, and just wanted to you know, throw out a video. Hope y'all like it, subscribe. Definitely gonna start kicking out some other ones. I know I want to get a like a hat camera and do some like unloading videos, maybe some time lapse. I don't know. I know I've talked about it before. I just don't really get around to it. You know, this is, like I've always said, it's kind of like a journal. It's kind of like a progression. It's like a diary, right? It's just kind of where I'm at and where my mindset is at in that year, in that month, for myself to go back and look at, you know, just documentation. So that's what I enjoy about it. Trying to be authentic can be extremely difficult, because of course you want to be the best version of yourself and you want to keep it real. But with the camera in your face, you know, you're super vulnerable. So you're trying to be, you know, ultimately this, you know, amazing person, when, you know, we all have our faults and our up and downs and everything. So I try to expose that, and I try to show, you know, my progression and why I do the things that I do. Because like I was saying in the last video, old school, you stay at a company, you stack your 401k, and you get ready for retirement. Great. But in this industry, you can move, you know, your value. As long as you don't get in wrecks, you know, in this industry, in this line of work, you're fine. Excuse me. So, you know, learning new things is you know, is something that I want to continue to do. And honestly, I was talking to my girlfriend about, you know, being a snowbird. Like, I was like, man, I would love to work up here in the summer, and then in the south, you know, go down there for the winter. You know, that would be awesome. So that's definitely something that I would love to do. And, you know, with her in the medical field and me in trucking, we are recession proof. We are, you know, essential AF. We are very driven. You know, she just picked up a part-time job, you know, because, you know, no job. I mean, if you work 40 hours a week, I mean, it's like, what? Like, oh, that's cool. Like, what else do you do? You know, in my head, I'm like, 40 hours, like, in this economy and inflation, 40 hours, yeah, of course, if you're a effing lawyer or you know, an accountant, maybe you can work 40 hours, 8 hours a day and raise a family. But, you know, it's tough. You know, you got to work at least 55, you know. So, yeah. So, stay hustling, stay driven. And, I mean, that's how I am. I'm driven. I hustle all the time. I like to say, I use the analogy of a battery. I say my body is like, my energy is like a Duracell battery. And at the end of the day, you know, it's down there. You got to use all that energy. You know, when you get home, you got to clean, you got to do this, you got to do that. You can't just get home and just sit. You know, body in motion stays in motion. Stop sitting on the couch. Stop scrolling. Like, when you get home, you gotta take care of your place and clean and drain your battery, so that way you can sleep at night. Go to the gym, wear and drain out your battery. Don't come home with half a battery and get into it with your wife or your husband. That's where conflict comes from. It comes from, It comes from energy that you did not expend. You did not use that energy, so you're going to use that energy for something, which is going to be an argument versus going to the gym and tiring yourself and doing something hard and challenging. And when you do that and someone cuts you off, or your wife kind of snarkles at you or something, you're just like, I did something hard. Like, that it doesn't bother me. I challenge myself today. Of course, working is challenging yourself, but physically challenging yourself every day, doing something, I think is key. So it's 30 minutes. This is definitely not going to give you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you if you followed along. This is awesome. Definitely means a lot to me if you did listen to the whole video. You know, I'm going to continue to kick out more. Like I've said, I think that's the third time. I'm going to continue to make more videos because I'm happy in South Dakota. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Love you guys. Ciao.